Hi everyone, this is Charmaine here, and I'm the registered dietitian that helps people reverse type 2 diabetes and have Daalia with me in the Reversing Diabetes program. You can say hi to everyone, Daalia.
Hello, everyone.
Awesome. So Daalia, I know you're doing fantastic in the Reversing Diabetes program. So how did you find me? What made you start in the first place?
So in October, I was actually diagnosed with diabetes.
Hmm.
So I had been pre-diabetic for a while. So once I got the diagnosis, it scared me. It freaked me
Mm.
out. So I want to say I started like searching on TikTok because TikTok always has stuff
Yeah, that's
just to
great.
see like what people had out there for reversing diabetes. And so I looked at a few things and then I came across your page. And I believe it was your personality, to be honest with you.
Oh.
You were just very bubbly and very excited about, your passion for health and doing everything through food. And that kind of drew me in. And I was like, well, if she gets this excited about it, then it looks like it might be work for me. So,
Mhm.
mhm.
Got it. I see. Well, thank you so much for your support as well. I think a lot of times people are like, yeah, like I found you on TikTok. And it's since it's such a new thing,
Mhm.
people are like, are you real? But I'm grateful that this is something that attracted to you. So what would you say is your biggest motivation to start changing your lifestyle, to start reversing your diabetes? Because I know you were just diagnosed. So what is your biggest motivation for you?
So my
Hmm.
biggest motivation was once I was actually diagnosed with diabetes, I wanted to get past it. I didn't want it to be something that actually defined me. Um,
Mm.
so I wanted to feel better about myself. I had actually started feeling worse, and I was tired of feeling sick and tired, if that makes sense. I know people
Mm.
say that, but it was just kind of like day in and day out. I'd come home and my stomach would hurt, or this
Mm.
happened. I just wasn't feeling comfortable with it.
Hmm.
But my biggest motivation was once I was actually diagnosed, I was like, okay, I have to do something about this. So
Hmm.
that is where I Googled everything. I found you through TikTok, and then I kind of
Hmm.
there.
Hmm.
So a big part of the motivation, it's been family, wanting to be there in the long run,
Hmm.
because I have friends that always tell me like, oh, like their mom died at 40 something. And I'm like, well, I don't
Hmm.
want that to be me. So, you get to a point in your life when it's just like you see it's like you come to a crossroad and
Yeah.
it's like which way do you go? And I could
Hmm.
see my life because of what I do for work.
Hmm.
I'm a podiatrist, so
Hmm.
I see patients that have gone down the road of diabetes.
Hmm.
It's never just diabetes, it's always diabetes and hypertension and kidney disease. And I did not want to have all of that following me because I
Hmm.
see the bad effects of it.
Hmm.
So I decided that, you know what, we're going to go the other way.
Yeah.
So, mhm.
Got it. I love that. So it's different factors of you first listening to your body, something's not right, but at the same time, you want to be able to live longer for your family. And on the other hand, with your job, you kind of see the other side of consequence of
Yes.
diabetes, and you'd
Mhm.
want to be able to take a different route in that. Is that
Definitely.
correct? Got
Mhm.
it. Got it. And how has your journey been in terms of changing your lifestyle, being healthier? How has it been for you?
It's actually been great.
Uh-huh.
Initially, I was a little scared because I was like, oh, so now we're just going to eat veggies and it's just going to no meat. And,
Right.
that scared me.
Yeah.
Because I think the longest I had not eaten meat for before this was maybe like a month. And
Hmm.
I did not know that, you opened up a lot of options for me.
Hmm.
So before, when I didn't eat meat, it was like a starvation thing because I didn't know what to not eat or
Hmm.
what type thing. Um,
Hmm.
so this I found to be so easy.
Hmm.
I was in awe of it because I was like, as long as I kept it simple, it worked for me.
Mm.
And my body responded great. My blood pressure went down.
Wow.
I lost about 20 pounds. So,
Wow.
like that evening fog kind of cleared. I
Hmm.
don't need caffeine like I used to. I
Hmm.
can go without drinking caffeine in the morning and it's not a,
Wow.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
So that was pretty interesting. So I'm actually not on coffee either right now because that affects your blood pressure as
Right.
well. So that was kind of like a big thing.
Got it. Got it. Thank you so much for sharing. And I think one of the biggest thing that I hear too is the energy, right?
Yeah.
Like the newfound energy, because I know you shared how when you weren't feeling well before you changed your lifestyle, you were feeling tired, like after you get home, and then you know, feel weird in your stomach. But now, right, you have more energy and you can do so much more. And I feel like that is one of the biggest gain in life
It
when
is,
you
definitely. Yeah, and it's changed drastically. Like I used to have stomach pains after I ate, and it got to the point where my boyfriend told me to see a gastroenterologist, and I was like, oh, okay. So I had the appointment set and I had everything ready, and then literally within a week of starting this program, it all disappeared.
Wow.
You know, it was just like, oh, okay, this is not, you know, it's really just my diet. So that was
That's amazing. And I know I talked to you when you first started the program, and then I'm talking to you now again, and you are just glowing, and I can totally see that. You know, it's not just in the weight loss, it's not just, you know, in the blood sugar, but really your whole energy, your vibe is just different. So I'm happy for you in that. Yeah, absolutely. And what are some results that you've been seeing in terms of blood sugar, in terms of number? What have you been seeing so far?
So I jumped on it right when it started to go past the marker for diabetes. So initially my highest A1C was 6.6. And then leading up into that, it always been like 6.3, so, you know, just steadily going up there. So I've actually seen it come down to a 6, which is now, so it's out of the diabetes
range.
So that's very exciting. Again, my stomach issues went away. My blood pressure got lower. I think like even my face cleared. Like there's so many benefits to it. So yeah, I've lost weight. My clothes fit better. I just feel better in general. So
amazing. And how do you wrap your mind around, you know, your blood sugar lowering, but at the same time you're actually having more complex healthy carbohydrates? I know it's very different, especially as a healthcare provider. It's very different from what we usually recommend people to do, right? And so how do you wrap your mind around that?
It was actually not, you know, it was, once I knew what to do, it was easier to do, if that makes sense. And that was my biggest thing in coming to the program, was because I knew that, okay, I could go read a whole bunch of books and I don't have time to do that, or I could find somebody who did the reading and did research and would help me along with it. And I did not want to try to battle something like this on my own. So you were very helpful in that. So I thank you for that. I was kind of in awe of it, as far as like, because you just don't think, you always think that, oh, I can't have sweet potatoes, or I can't this or XYZ. So they always teach you that you need lower carbs. And I hear it all the time. Like people are like, oh, cut your sugars, cut your carbs, but that's not sustainable. So it's interesting to watch how, you know, to see it actually work the way that you said it was going to work. And it actually worked. So, and I'm satisfied. Like the biggest thing was every diet that I've done, and I don't consider this a diet, but every diet that I've done, it's always been like a hunger thing. Like, oh my gosh, I can't wait until I get my next meal. I can't wait until this, like these lows and these highs. And it's been so satisfying. So it's great to, you know, just putting all this goodness into my body and then actually seeing that it works. So
I love that. And I think that is one of the things that makes a lifestyle sustainable, is that you're not hungry. You can eat as much as your heart desires, as much as your stomach desires, right? And just to make sure that you feel good, it doesn't make you hangry, and that it's something that is sustainable. So I'm very happy to hear that. And I'm just curious, because I know you're a podiatrist, and I know that you also have had people with diabetes, you know, see you. So what would you say are some tips for people to take care of their feet? Because I know a lot of times, a lot of people do struggle with their health, especially when it comes to extremities and diabetes. So do you have any tips or anything that may help them?
The biggest tip is, depending on how far along you are in diabetes, is to see someone, whether, even if it's not seeing a podiatrist. I always recommend seeing a podiatrist. But you know, like if your primary care doctor doesn't look at your feet, you take your shoes off, you stick your feet in their face so that somebody's looking at it. Because a lot of the times they just can't, you know, you can't feel certain things because diabetes leads to nerve damage sometimes in some, and then that can become a problem. So a lot of it just using your eyes to monitor your feet, having other people check your feet. You should be I always tell patients that they should be so comfortable with their foot that they know the minute that something doesn't look right, that they can bring it to someone's attention. So it's prevention in my mind, because it's very easy. It only takes one time for you to do something that you should not do, and then you're going down that road of amputations, because that's another reason we see amputations in the US, is diabetes and its complications. And a lot of times it happens so quickly. So it's one of those things.
That's really good tip. I'll definitely be recommending people to you so that they can have that prevention, because it's true, especially when it comes to nerve damage, you literally cannot feel it. And I know I have clients told me before that they were walking in Disneyland and all of a sudden their whole sock turned from white to red, right? So things like that, it happens. So prevention is definitely key. So thank you so much for that tip. I appreciate it.
Definitely.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience? Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah. If somebody's out there and they're on the fence of whether or not they can do this, I really recommend it, because it opened up so much for me, in the sense of knowing what foods to put in my body, knowing how blood sugar reacts to different things. Even though you're taught, in medicine, a lot of the times you're taught the medicine side of things, but you're not taught how to fix it with food or with healthy, you learn how to manage it, if that makes sense. So there's not really a cure per se. So it was interesting to see this aspect of it work out. So if somebody's out there and they're on the fence, I highly recommend it. It works. It was in October that I had my A1C was 6.6, and here in January, and now it's 6. And my Apple Watch, I've hooked it up to that, and every day it tells me that your average glucose is lower than it was, and so I know it's coming down.
Amazing.
Still. So that's exciting. So I definitely recommend it. If you think you can't do without meat, you'd be surprised at how satisfying the diet will be once you start it.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting too, because a lot of times people think, especially when you are on a low carb diet already, people think, what I do without the meat is just vegetables, right? But then there's beans, there's whole grains that people don't think about, or think that they can eat that. I think you brought up a good point. It has a lot to do with, the mindset, and also having your eyes open to other options as well that's available. So thank you so much for sharing, Daalia. And I really just am amazed by your transformation. So I'm super proud of you. I will definitely be recommending more people to you if they need I think anyone who has diabetes, like you said, do need to see a podiatrist. So hopefully that's a message that people get from out there. And so thank you so much for sharing, Daalia. And for those of you who are curious about what it takes to reverse your insulin resistance, to reverse your diabetes, I have a free reversing diabetes training that talks about the science behind reversing diabetes with a whole foods plant-based diet. You can check out in the description or the link in profile, wherever you're seeing this. And hope that you guys have a fantastic day. Have a good one, everyone.